Let me introduce you to Mike. Mike was a prepper, not a weekend warrior with a flashlight and a prayer. A real one. 47 tactical knives, 3 years of MREs stacked floor to ceiling, 8 water filtration systems, a bug-out bag by the front door. A garage that looked like a government surplus store had a nervous breakdown inside a Costco. $12,000 deep. Mike watched prepper YouTube every single day, knew every brand, every hack, every product. Mike was ready for anything. Mike died during Hurricane Helene. Not from the wind, not from flooding, not from a collapsing roof. Mike died because 20 gallons of gasoline he'd stored in his basement, improperly sealed in plastic containers in an unventilated space, had been leaking vapor for months. When he went downstairs to fire up the generator, one spark touched the invisible lake of fumes pooling at floor level. Half a pint of evaporated gasoline is enough to fill an enclosed space with explosive atmosphere. That's NFPA data. Mike confirmed it with his life. 47 knives, 3 years of beef stroganoff, 8 filtration systems, all useless, because Mike never prepared for the thing that actually killed him. Now here's the number that should rearrange your evening. FEMA's 2024 National Household Survey, 83% of Americans have taken at least 3 preparedness actions. Only 51% feel genuinely ready. That 32-point gap isn't a statistic. It's a mass grave waiting for a shovel. 20 million American adults call themselves preppers. Most are making at least one of these 10 mistakes. And these mistakes don't just waste money, they turn your preps into the weapon that kills you. So here's the rule. Carve it into your workbench. Prepping is not what you buy, prepping is what you do. And the moment you stop doing it, everything you bought starts rotting, including your odds. This is the Fallout Raccoon guide to the 10 prepper mistakes that will kill you. Not hypothetically, will. Let's start with the one hiding in your garage right now. Number 1. Your garage is a pipe bomb and you built it. 45 million American households have at least one container of gasoline stored somewhere on their property. That's the Consumer Product Safety Commission talking. 6,000 residential fires per year caused by gasoline. 500 dead. 500 million in property damage every single year. The American Burn Association logs 13 to 15,000 ER visits annually from gasoline burns. The American Academy of Pediatrics adds 40,000 involving children. Children. Because somebody left a red plastic jug next to the water heater and nobody thought twice. Here's the science. Gasoline vapor is 3 to 4 times heavier than air. It doesn't rise, it sinks, pools at floor level like an invisible lake, creeps along the ground, fills low points, collects in corners, your basement, your garage floor, that depression around the drain. It waits for a pilot light, a dryer cycling on, a light switch arcing just enough. Half a pint of evaporated gasoline in a closed space creates enough explosive atmosphere to level a room. In Los Angeles, 4 people died when fumes from 3 gasoline containers stored in a kitchen ignited from the stove's pilot light. A kitchen, 3 cans, 4 bodies. The CPSC documented it like a case study in ordinary negligence. And yet, Prepper YouTube is packed with videos titled "How to Store 200 Gallons of Fuel at Home." Millions of views. Because the logic seems bulletproof. More fuel equals more safety. More fuel equals more fire. Unless you know what you're doing. The fix. Gasoline never goes inside the home. Not the basement, not the attached garage, detached structure with ventilation. DOT-approved metal containers, red for gasoline, yellow diesel, blue kerosene. Maximum 5 gallons combined flammable liquid in any residential setting. Fuel stabilizer at purchase. Rotated every 6 months. Grounding cable during every transfer because pouring gas between containers generates enough static to light the fumes. Go look at your storage tonight. Count the gallons. Check proximity to ignition sources. Water heater, dryer, electrical panel. If you can't answer with confidence, you're sleeping 30 feet from a bomb you built yourself. But here's the thing about Mike's story nobody talks about. Even if his garage hadn't exploded, he still would have died. Because the storm wasn't what killed people. What came after did. And almost nobody prepares for that part. Number 2. The storm didn't kill you. The Tuesday after did every disaster movie tells you the same lie. The hurricane hits, the credits roll, everybody walks into the sunset. In real life, there are no credits. The sun rises on a world with no power, no running water, no pharmacy, and mold already colonizing your drywall. That's where the real dying begins. The deadliest belief in prepping is that the disaster is the event. It's not. The disaster is the aftermath. And you have zero plan for it. Katrina, 47% of deaths caused by acute and chronic disease, not drowning, disease. Heart conditions alone, 11%. Chronic illness treatment made up a third of all hospital visits and peaked 10 days after the storm. 10 days. The hurricane was a memory. The dying was just ramping up. 49% of victims were 75 or older. People dependent on medications, dialysis, oxygen, and a healthcare system that ceased to exist overnight. Nature Journal, 2024. Tropical cyclones in the U.S. cause elevated death rates for up to 15 years after the storm passes. 15 years. That's not aftermath. That's a generational wound that outlives the news cycle by a decade. Now the silent killer that moves in when the power goes out. Carbon monoxide. The CDC tracked 1,444 weather-related CO poisoning deaths between 2000 and 2019. 72 per year, which equals or exceeds the number killed directly by lightning, hurricanes, tornadoes, and floods combined. During Hurricane Irma in 2017, 16 people died from CO poisoning across Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina. The storm itself killed 11. The generator killed more people than the hurricane. One portable generator produces CO equivalent to roughly 450 cars running simultaneously. You crack the garage door 6 inches because it's raining. That crack isn't ventilation, it's a funnel. CO is colorless, odorless. By the time you notice the headache, your family might already be unconscious. After Hurricane Ida in 2021, dozens were hospitalized from generator CO poisoning in just the first 48 hours. Louisiana's governor said it plainly. Historically, we know that most people are injured and killed because of the response to the storm, not the storm itself. The response, not the storm. Then there's the floodwater. You're wading through what used to be your street. Small cut on your ankle from debris. Barely notice it. That water is a soup of overflowed sewage, animal feces, industrial runoff, and bacteria named by a horror movie screenwriter. Leptospirosis enters through skin wounds. The bacteria doesn't need an invitation, just a crack in your skin. Vibrio vulnificus causes flesh-eating infections from open wound contact. In hours, not days. After Hurricane Mitch in Nicaragua, respiratory infections quadrupled within a month. Post-Katrina, homes became petri dishes for penicillium and aspergillus mold, triggering respiratory crises across neighborhoods for months. The fix: stop planning for the event. Plan for 3 phases: before impact, during impact, the long, ugly after. Phase 3 is the one that kills. Battery-powered CO detector on every floor. Generator minimum 20 feet from any structure, exhaust pointed away. Wound care kit with betadine, antibiotic ointment, sterile bandages, oral rehydration salts. 90-day supply of any chronic medication, stored waterproof with a handwritten medication list, because your phone is dead and your pharmacy is underwater. N95 masks for the mold that colonizes everything 48 hours after flooding. You survived the hurricane? Congratulations. Now, survive 30 days without a grid, without medicine, without clean water. That's the real test. But even if you build a perfect aftermath plan, there's a problem with where you're aiming it, because most of you are preparing for the wrong disaster entirely. Number 3, $10,000 and you can't survive a Tuesday. You've got a Faraday cage, potassium iodide tablets, silver bars for economic collapse, a crossbow for the zombie apocalypse. You watch too much Walking Dead, friend. $10,000 across 50 doomsday scenarios. A little bit ready for everything and fully ready for nothing. And the ice storm that knocks your power out for 9 days in February is going to wreck you worse than any fictional EMP ever could. Between 2000 and 2023, the United States experienced 1,755 major weather-related power outages. Severe weather alone, 58%. Winter storms, 23. Hurricanes, 14. The last 10 years saw twice as many major outages as the first 10. EMP attacks in that same period, 0, not 1, ever. FEMA's most common disaster declarations: floods, severe storms, hurricanes, winter storms, wildfires. Boring stuff. Can't put a mushroom cloud in the thumbnail, but boring killed 250 people during Helene. 94 from flooding, 65 from wind, 61 of those from falling trees. Trees. In the North Carolina mountains, hundreds of miles from the coast, where no evacuation orders were even issued. Between 2018 and 2020, over 231,000 power outages lasting more than an hour were logged nationally. Over 17,000 lasted 8+ hours. The medical risk threshold for people on refrigerated medication or powered medical devices. Average American customer, 1.4 outages per year, 5.6 hours without power. Sounds manageable until it isn't. After Hurricane Ian, 2.6 million Florida customers lost electricity. Some waited over 2 weeks. Military strategists call this force dilution. Spread resources across every front equally, you're strong at none. 3 days of water for a hurricane, a half-built Faraday cage for an EMP, some iodine pills for nuclear fallout, silver coins for collapse. Jack of all apocalypses, master of none. Preparing for an EMP when you don't have a flood barrier is like betting roulette instead of poker. Gambling on the spectacular while ignoring the statistical. The 80-20 rule. 80% of your budget goes to the 3 most likely threats for your specific location. Check FEMA's disaster history for your county. 15 flood declarations and 0 EMPs in 20 years? Drop the Faraday cage. Buy a sump pump. 30 days of water, 1 gallon per person per day. 30 days of diverse food, reliable power with enough fuel. Medical supplies, communication plan. This base layer serves every scenario. Build it first, completely. Then layer the exotic threats on top. Now, that food stockpile you're building? There's a slow-motion execution hiding inside those buckets you've never opened. Number 4. Your food supply is killing you softly. The United States Army, the organization that invented MREs, won't feed them to soldiers for more than 21 consecutive days. The people who designed these things know they're a short-term bridge. The prepper community decided they're a lifestyle. Low fiber, high sodium, monotonous profiles designed to be tolerable, not sustainable. After 2 weeks, your digestive system stages a formal revolt. The freeze-dried bucket crowd isn't better. 1 year of food, $3,000. Open it. It's rice. Chicken-flavored rice, beef-flavored rice, rice that tastes like the broken dreams of a man who thought survival was a purchase. 25-year shelf life on the lid, under ideal conditions, which doesn't include your garage in Arizona in August. Here's what happens in a sustained crisis. Week 1, fine. Week 2, constipation. Your stockpile has the fiber content of a parking lot. Week 3, monotony and stress obliterate morale. And morale isn't a luxury item. It's a load-bearing wall in your mental architecture. Lose it, and the whole structure cracks. Month 1, vitamin deficiencies surface. Fatigue, mouth sores, skin problems. Month 2, your immune system is compromised, and that minor wound infection that should have been a 3-day antibiotic course is now life-threatening because your body can't fight a cold, let alone bacteria. During Venezuela's collapse, the population was forced into near-exclusive diets of rice and flour. Average Venezuelan lost 24 pounds in 2017. Children developed severe malnutrition. A country sitting on the largest oil reserves on the planet, and its people were wasting away on empty calories. They didn't die from starvation. They died because nutritional imbalance gutted their immune systems and everything else finished the job. Eat what you store what you eat. Mirror your actual diet. Protein from canned meat, tuna, dried legumes. Carbs from rice, pasta, oats. Fats from olive oil and peanut butter. Fiber from dried vegetables. Vitamins from an $8 bottle of multivitamins. And morale food, coffee, tea, chocolate, hot sauce. These aren't indulgences. They're psychological survival infrastructure. A cup of real coffee when the world's falling apart is the difference between I can keep going and I'm done. The military has included coffee and candy in combat rations since World War II. They learned that a soldier who loses the will to fight is just as dead as one who takes a bullet. Inventory your stockpile tonight. Not by calories, by food group. 70% in one category, you don't have a food supply. You have a nutritional coffin with a shelf life sticker. But even if your food is dialed in, there's a mistake hiding in your plan that's been killing humans longer than firearms, longer than war, longer than civilization itself. Number 5. History's deadliest weapon is your own filth. You've got guns, food, water filters, a knife that could field dress a grizzly, 400 rounds and a plate carrier. You don't have a plan for where to take a dump when the toilets stop flushing. Top 10 tactical knives gets 2 million views. Post-disaster toilet solutions gets 15,000. That ratio is going to produce body bags, because across the entire arc of human history, more people have been killed by their own waste than by enemy weapons. That's not hyperbole. That's arithmetic. American Civil War. Every soldier killed in combat, 2 died from disease. Over 400,000 dead from hygiene-related illness. Dysentery alone took 95,000. Latrines dug too close to drinking water. No hand washing. Waste accumulating with no disposal plan. The invisible enemy in the latrine killed twice as many as the visible one across the battlefield. Spanish-American War, 7 disease deaths for every 1 combat death. Typhoid, dysentery, yellow fever, all sanitation failures. World War II was the first war in American history where combat killed more troops than disease. The first. And that breakthrough didn't come from better weapons. It came from better toilets, field sanitation protocols, hand-washing stations. The sanitarians won more battles than the generals. Your grid-down scenario, pumps dead, toilets don't flush, day 1 bucket, day 2 dump it in the yard, day 3 bury it 20 feet from your well, downhill, never learned the 60-meter rule because nobody teaches it on the channels you watch. Week 1, groundwater contaminated. You skip hand washing because water is rationed and soap seems wasteful. 2 weeks in, first diarrhea, no oral rehydration salts. Dehydration accelerates. In children, it turns fatal in 48 hours. 3 weeks, dysentery, blood, fever, cramps so bad they can't stand. No antibiotics, no hospital. And it started because you dug a hole in the wrong spot. After the 2004 Aceh tsunami, 106 tetanus cases from contaminated wounds, 20 dead. In Rwanda's Goma camps in 1994, over 1 million refugees on a lava field with no water sources. Cholera erupted. Drug-resistant Shigella followed. Thousands died, not from violence, from sanitation collapse. At the Katrina Superdome, 25,000 people with failing plumbing. Norovirus and rotavirus ripped through the building like it was designed for them. The shelter became an incubation chamber. The fix costs less than a box of ammunition. 5-gallon bucket with a lid. Heavy-duty trash bags, doubled. Cat litter for coverage and bacteria control. Located 60 meters from any water source, uphill. Hand washing station, jug with a spigot, bar soap, $20. Arguably the most life-saving piece of equipment in your entire stockpile. Bar soap, mountains of it. Nearly unlimited shelf life. ORS packets, pennies per packet, weigh nothing. The line between miserable diarrhea and lethal dehydration. N95 masks, nitrile gloves, heavy garbage bags, because a trash pile becomes a fly incubator, and flies become disease vectors faster than you can say cholera. Total cost, under $30. Life-saving potential, higher than your $3,000 plate carrier. Your garage isn't a bomb, you're planning for the aftermath. Food's diversified, sanitation's handled. But there's a fantasy in the back of your brain about to undo all of it. Starts with a backpack and a dream. Number 6, the bug-out fairy tale. Grab the bag, hit the mountains, hunt deer with your compound bow, build a shelter from pine boughs. Basically Red Dead Redemption meets Walden, except you weigh 230, you haven't run a mile since Obama's first term, and your wilderness experience is a state park campground with flush toilets and a gift shop. Bug out is the most romantic lie in prepping, and romance gets people killed. During Helene, mountain communities in western North Carolina were completely severed. Roads gone, bridges destroyed, I-40 and I-26 wiped out. If your plan was bugging out to the mountains bugged out from you. People who survived best stayed home and organized with neighbors. Katrina, every road gridlocked within hours. Gas stations closed. Over 600,000 households displaced a month later. People who sheltered in place with supplies fared better than people who fled into 12-hour traffic jams with half a tank and a vague plan to head north. Most never made it north. They made it to the next exit ramp and sat there until the National Guard found them. Your bug-out bag weighs 40 pounds. Have you carried it 10 miles, in rain, at night, with blisters at mile 2 and shoulders screaming at mile 4? Most people cannot carry 40 pounds for 10 continuous miles. Most haven't tried. And the time to discover that is not when your house is on fire and the highway is a parking lot. Bug in is your default. Your home has your supplies, shelter, water, community. Bug out is a last resort. House on fire, chemical spill, flood water entering the second floor. An emergency option, not a plan. This weekend, bag on, walk 10 miles. Can't finish? You don't have a bug out plan. You have a bug out wish. And in the new world, wishes are just stories people tell about the dead. Speaking of the people you're supposed to survive with, there's a critical vulnerability that has your last name. Number 7, your weakest link has your last name. You've spent 2 years building the perfect system. You know where every item is, every tool, every filter, every round. You can start the generator blindfolded. Your wife doesn't know where the flashlight is. Most preppers treat this like a solo hobby. The spouse thinks you're paranoid. The kids don't care. And instead of pushing through that resistance and bringing them in, You retreat deeper into the garage and keep building alone. Because buying gear is easy. Having the conversation is hard. Then the disaster hits. You're at work, 30 miles away, roads closed, towers down. Your family is home with a garage full of equipment they've never touched, a water filter they can't operate, a radio tuned to a frequency nobody told them, and an evacuation plan that exists exclusively inside your skull. Your wife loads the kids into the car and drives toward the flooding. Because nobody discussed the routes. Because that conversation never happened. Because prepping was your thing, not theirs. FEMA calls the family emergency plan the cornerstone of all preparedness. Most preppers skip it because talking to family about disaster feels harder than spending $300 on a new optic. Twice a year, 30 minutes, 3 questions. Where do we meet if we can't get home? Where are supplies and how do they work? If we can't reach each other, what's the plan? Laminated card for everyone. Contacts, meeting points, medical info, blood types, allergies. 1 practice drill per year. 15 minutes of discomfort now for every life in your household later. Your preps are only as strong as the weakest person who needs to use them. Make sure that person isn't standing in your kitchen right now, completely clueless. But even with your family briefed, there's a silent decay in your garage that's been eating your investment since the day you made it. Number 8. Your stockpile is a museum of expired hope. When's the last time you actually inspected your supplies? Not glanced at, opened, checked, verified. Most preppers operate on buy it, stack it, forget it. That model has a body count. Gasoline without stabilizer degrades in 3 to 6 months. The octane drops, it turns to varnish, and what's left clogs your generator's carburetor into a paperweight. Stabilizer buys you a year, maybe 2. That fuel you've been saving since the last administration? It's expensive syrup. After Katrina, multiple generator owners found their units wouldn't start. Not broken equipment, just fuel that had turned to gel from years of neglect. Canned goods with 5-year labels? That's under ideal conditions. That's at stable temperature, low humidity, no light. Your garage in July with temps swinging from 50 to 110? Maybe 2 years. That bulging can isn't pressurized. It's botulism waving a flag. Your medical kit. Antibiotics expired 18 months ago. Ibuprofen crumbled to powder. EpiPen lost potency, and you won't know until the moment you desperately need it. Batteries leaked acid, corroded your radio's contacts. Water filter cartridge absorbed moisture and degraded to uselessness. Everything looks fine from the outside. Everything is dead on the inside. You have supplies. You don't have usable supplies. And on the day you need them, opening each container will feel like a slot machine where every pull loses. FIFO, first in, first out. Label every item with its purchase date. Eat from your stockpile, cook from it, then replenish. Check everything every 6 months. Put it on your calendar like a medical appointment. Because skipping this one can actually kill you. Your stockpile isn't a vault, it's a garden. Stop tending it and it dies. 1 prep left that everyone ignores. The one you carry every day. Number 9. The enemy in your mirror. Somewhere out there, a prepper with 15,000 in gear can't climb 1 flight of stairs without seeing stars. That's not an insult. That's an obituary being drafted in slow motion. 42% of American adults are obese. CDC 2023. The prepper demographic, predominantly male, 30 plus, likely exceeds that. In a grid-down scenario, every survival task becomes manual labor. Hauling water, splitting wood, walking miles, carrying loads, standing watch through the night, running from danger, actually running. Not jogging to the mailbox, running like something behind you is faster than you are. Katrina, 47% of deaths from disease and chronic illness, 11% cardiac alone. These were bodies that couldn't handle the shift from suburban comfort to raw survival. Helene, majority of indirect deaths classified as medical emergencies and cardiac events. These weren't people caught in the storm. These were people whose hearts gave out carrying sandbags or simply enduring the stress of a world that stopped working. Venezuela, when the healthcare system collapsed, manageable conditions became death sentences. Diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disease, not inherently lethal, but the medications vanished and the bodies weren't strong enough to compensate. A country with some of the world's finest oil reserves, and people were dying because they couldn't get blood pressure pills. Your body is your primary survival tool, not your knife, not your rifle. A $500 tactical vest on a body that can't sprint 200 yards is just a donation to whoever takes it off you later. Get a physical. Blood pressure, blood sugar. If you're on daily medication, stockpile 90 days and rotate. If your condition is manageable through diet and exercise, start today, not Monday. Bug out bag on your back. One flight of stairs. Winded at the top? That's your number one vulnerability. More dangerous than improperly stored fuel. More dangerous than expired food. Because you can replace every piece of gear in a week. You cannot replace your cardiovascular system. 30-minute walk today. 35 tomorrow. The most expensive piece of survival equipment in the world is a healthy heart. And unlike everything in your garage, you can't order one from Amazon. One mistake left. The one that turns everything you've built into a target. Number 10. The barbecue that got you killed. Remember that 4th of July cookout? Couple beers, sunny afternoon, your neighbor asks how you've been and you casually mention the 2-year food supply, the generator, the water storage. Maybe you showed him the garage, maybe you didn't. Doesn't matter. You said enough. And he remembers every word. He told 4 neighbors, those 4 told friends. 3 months into grid down, 15 people at your door. Every one of them has a starving family. Some scared, some desperate, some angry. All of them know exactly what you have, because you told one guy one time, over one hamburger. In Venezuela, homes known to have food were raided. Sometimes by armed groups, sometimes by neighbors who'd been friendly 6 months earlier. During Katrina, houses known to contain weapons and supplies became priority targets. Not random break-ins. Targeted. Because somebody talked. Every "come and take it" bumper sticker, every NRA decal, every Instagram post of your gun room, every Reddit comment with location crumbs, every geotagged photo, every casual mention at the office. They're all receipts. And in a long-term crisis, those receipts get cashed by people desperate enough to do math and strong enough to kick in a door. Operational security isn't paranoia. Paranoia is irrational. This is mathematics. The gap between having supplies and keeping them is directly proportional to how many people know about them. Need-to-know basis. Only people in your plan know about your plan. Household, mutual aid group. That's the list. Social media goes dark. No stockpile photos, no armory tours, no location tags, no forum posts with identifying details. Remove every bumper sticker that broadcasts what you are. In a crisis, those aren't statements. They're GPS coordinates. Tonight, audit your digital footprint. Every post, comment, and tag pointing at your home and what's inside it, clean it, lock it, delete it. From now on, the only people who know what you have are the ones standing next to you when the lights go out. Everyone else gets a shrug and a change of subject. Let's bring it home. Mike had everything: knives, MREs, filters, $12,000 of purpose-built survival equipment, ready for any scenario ever filmed, written, or imagined. Mike died from gasoline vapor in a basement. But Mike could have died from any entry on this list. CO from the generator. An infected wound from floodwater. Expired antibiotics in a kit he hadn't opened in 3 years. A cardiac event from demands his body couldn't meet. His wife driving into a flood because no one told her the plan. His neighbor organizing a desperate mob because Mike mentioned his stockpile over a burger. All 10 mistakes share one root. Mike treated prepping like a transaction. Swipe the card, stack the gear, feel safe. He bought things. He didn't do things. He accumulated equipment. He didn't build discipline. He prepared for the event. Never for the aftermath, the maintenance, the hard conversations, the physical fitness, or the brutal operational silence that real survival demands. 20 million preppers in this country. Most of them are Mikes. But every mistake on this list is fixable. Today, not with money, with action. Check your fuel. Plan for Phase 3. Prioritize the boring threats that actually show up. Diversify your food. Stock soap and ORS packets next to your ammunition. Kill the bug-out fantasy and fortify your home. Sit your family down for 15 honest minutes. Rotate your supplies every 6 months. Walk with weight on your back. And shut your mouth about what you have. 10 mistakes, 10 fixes, 0 excuses. The disaster won't kill you. Your choices before the disaster will. Just don't take too long to make better ones.